And we are live on Wednesday, September 24th, the eve of week 4. We're already on week 4. That's kind of crazy to think about. Kevin is here first. Week 4. We're moving right along, and we talk about this all the time. The fantasy season, man, like it kind of goes pretty fast. Hang on one second. I need to change something here. Okay, that should be a little bit better. We're already over 20% of the way done with the fantasy regular season, as I have a thunderstorm going on right outside my window. So if you hear that or see that, that's what that all is. So what's up, Kevin? Down with funds here. We're about to make a trade. Quentin Johnston straight up for Lamar Jackson. I think you're getting the steal on the Quentin Johnston side, but no. But yeah, it's we're here. It's like I said, the eve of week 4 starting. And it's just a cycle, man. Like with Thursday games, Monday games, it's just like you barely get time to breathe, and then it's boom, you're right back into the next season or the next week. Who to start, who to sit, all that fun stuff. So, if you guys have any questions, ask away. We're gonna stay live for a little bit, not too long, maybe today. Depends on how we're doing and how many people we got. Just make sure to hit the like button for us and hit me with some questions, some general topics to discuss. Start, sit, trade, whatever you fancy, and I will be happy to talk about dynasty philosophy. You know, one of the things I was thinking about earlier is Quentin Johnson is Moss and Megatron without their flaws, right? Yeah, seriously. No, it's good to see huge, and he's their playmaker on their offense. So yeah, it's great to see. It is great to see. So I was thinking about this. I was talking a lot in the offseason about guys like Cam Scattaboo and like the perceived value of someone like a Cam Scattaboo, and that like everyone's gonna love Cam Scattaboo, right? And that's gonna boost up his dynasty value. And just looking at like Scattaboo right now, he's RB20 on Keep Trade Cut, right? Like he's already a top 20 running back, and he hasn't, he's had one good game. I know we're expecting the usage and all of that, so that's why he's moving up, but he's just so likable because he's kind of that hard note. He's going to make highlight runs. He's going to run over people. New York fans are going to love him. People are going to chant "boo" "scattaboo" in the crowd when he makes a big play and stuff like that. And I just see him like he's already over RJ Harvey. He's over Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Bashal Tutin, which is fine. I'm not saying that's wrong or anything like that, but he's over those guys. He's over Trey Benson, right? Like he's ranked over Trey Benson. Why? Why is he ranked over Trey Benson? They should be, and essentially they're even. They're kind of in that same tier, but a bucket of players. But he shouldn't necessarily be ranked higher than him, lower than him. They should be pretty equal because they're both in a similar situation right now. So Scattaboo probably should have been drafted off me potential alone. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like the guy is going to be a highlight reel. Like again, even his in college football, like I'm sure a lot of people that don't even watch college football knew about the performance that he had in that playoff game where he was just kind of, going all out for his team and stuff. So, yeah, pretty interesting. I was just thinking about that and it's coming to fruition. I kind of predicted the Scattaboo takeover of this backfield by October. Now I didn't, that was not based on injury and stuff like that. That was more just, I thought he was going to kind of take over. So Hawkinson down bad, I feel, with Addison. Have a fair share with the Vikings defense slowing the game down, running game up. I'm now concerned, and it feels it's sell time. It's interesting. People are pretty out on Hawkinson pretty quickly. And I get it because he had a bad year last year, but he also had a good game last week. He had 5 for 50 and a touchdown, right? He had 5 for 50 and a touchdown. And how many times did they throw in that game? Carson Wentz threw the ball. Why can't I get Carson Wentz's numbers here? Carson Wentz threw the ball 20 times, and Hawkinson had 5 targets. Like, you'll take, 6 targets. So, throwing the ball 20 times, getting 50 yards and a touchdown when Carson Wentz only throws for 175 and 2, and throws the ball 20 times. Like, you'll take that. You'll take that 30% target share. Obviously, small sample size and all of that. So, I'm not out on Hawkinson. I think if you're selling low. But I am kind of interested in why people are. I've never been like the biggest TJ Hawkinson guy, but also I feel as if like people are kind of out on him pretty quickly. Like last year, I don't think it was a fair year to judge him because he was coming off a major injury and we knew he was going to be slow. And then this year, he started off slow, but also like the Vikings offensively kind of have started off slow as well, right? I know they're 2-1 and all of that, but like offensively, they've started off kind of slow, right? They've had basically, a couple big quarters. The one against the Bears, that second half, they scored 6 points against the Vikings, and then they didn't really need to do anything. 14 points basically came from defensive scores for the Vikings last week. So, I just think I'm not going to sell low on Hawkinson too much. Like, it depends on what you can get for him. But Jeff is here. He says flex Jordan Mason or Scattaboo. Full PPR. This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. If it's full PPR, I think I'm going to go Scattaboo. Full PPR, I think it's Scattaboo. Half or standard, I think I would go Mason. Essentially, I just think Scattaboo's going to catch more passes, right? Jordan Mason just has never been used in the passing game. He wasn't in San Francisco, and he hasn't been used in Minnesota to start off his career there. So, I expect him to get 1 to 2, but that's about it. So, I think I go Scattaboo and full PPR. Just double checking their matchups here. Give me a second here. I should have had this already pulled up. So we have Scattaboo. Oh, playing the Chargers. That does make me a little nervous. I actually, now that I think about it, I actually might go Jordan Mason playing Pittsburgh. I don't know. What are you guys thinking about Jackson Dart, his first start going up against the Chargers, who I think legitimately are one of the best defenses in the NFL? Like, I know I'm wearing a Chargers hat here. I am not a biased fan. I will be the first to tell you my team sucks, or I hate my team, or they're terrible at this. That defense has looked legit, like sticky coverage. Now, that being said, like, I don't think they played the best. Well, I think Malik Neighbors is probably the best wide receiver, pass catcher that they'll play, will have played up until this point. I think he's better than Sutton, better than whatever the Chiefs have, better than, maybe you can argue Bowers and stuff, but Bowers was hurt in that game. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant there, actually, to start Scattaboo. I might go Jordan Mason just because I feel more confident in the Vikings offense and going up against the Steelers. Crazy to think that, like, since when have the Steelers been a good defensive matchup? In the history of, like, I don't know how long you guys have been playing fantasy football. My first season was 2005. I'm an unk, as they say. I'm an old head. My first season was 2005 of fantasy football. I don't know if there's ever been a year where like you target the Steelers. You're excited that your fantasy players are playing the Steelers, right? I don't know. I don't know. Now, we did see the Steelers look better defensively last week, um, going up against the Patriots, though. So it's tough to know for sure. Um, Tyreek or Ricky Pearsall. Man, these are tough ones, Jeff. They are tough. Sounds like you need to potentially, if this is the same team, sounds like you potentially need to package a couple players to get one stud so that you're not making these decisions. I know depth is important and depth is gonna be really important, which when bye weeks start, which I think bye weeks start week 5, right? That sounds right. I think it's still Tyreek Hill for me. I think it's still Tyreek Hill for me, but I really don't mind either one. I that's where I would say I would trust your gut. And like if you have a lean, I would go with that and I wouldn't argue against it. I think I personally would still start Tyreek Hill. But I don't mind starting, slick Ricky Pearsall there. So um while none of the names were sexy, I didn't bid any actual fab. This week was the first week of injury implications that caused me to place a ton of waiver wires. Yeah, and again, you put in waiver wires claims for these guys, and generally it's running backs. I know you mentioned it here that you got some Mitchell Evans, Bam Knight, Kamani Vidal, DeMarcado. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And those are the positions you should be going for the most part. Running backs, backup quarterbacks. I kind of those are the two positions that I prioritize the most. Um, so, um, yeah, I mean, there's some other players potentially still out there. Um, who was it? I'm forgetting now. I forget who it was, but yeah, Bam Knight. Matt Collins was someone like in deeper leagues, like our listener leagues, where you're starting 12. Matt Collins could be a potential starter during bye weeks. He's playing 60-70% of the snaps and stuff like that. Arian Smith, if he's out there, I don't think he is, but Arian Smith, he got a little bit of hype. What was he, a 4th-round pick by the Jets in the draft, 3rd or 4th-round pick by the Jets. He seems to have won the wide receiver 2 spot, 4th-round pick. Seems to have won the wide receiver 2 spot for the Jets. He jumped up to almost 80% of the snaps played this last week against Tampa. So if he's out there on waiver wires, guys, I would go and pick him up because he's going to be playing quite a lot. So he might pop here and there, Arian Smith. So as we get more people in here, guys, make sure to hit the like and the like button on this, and of course subscribe if you're not. We'll kind of go in order and answer these questions. If you have any urgent questions you need to get to, there's always the option to super chat if you feel kind. It's a little $sign right there by the chat box, and we'll kind of get to it right away. Need some desperate help. Went 0 quarterback as a draft strategy, and I'm 0-3 with great depth. Studs have been duds. My RB2s are Hall, Pollard, Benson, Montgomery, Thomas Jr., and London have been non-factors. Yeah, that's just rough that you have a bunch of guys that just are non-factors that you expected to be. I mean, Breece Hall, kind of a non-factor after week 1. Tony Pollard, kind of a non-factor. Brian Thomas Jr., Drake London, non-factors. My only standouts have been Bucky Irving, CeeDee Lamb, and McMillan as my RB1, wide receiver 1, and flex. I'm in a 10-team PPR, and I feel like this team is extremely risky, boom, bust material. These guys should be performing, but not. My other wide receivers are Trey Tucker and Debo, who I picked up off waivers. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm stuck with what I have, even convincing myself that this might be a string of bad luck thoughts. You know what the issue with this team is, Johnny? Is like you're choosing between a bunch of guys and there's no definitive standout player. You're choosing each week, basically, you're choosing like, who do I start between? Breece Hall, Pollard, now Benson into the mix. So you're choosing between, who do I start between? Breece Hall, Pollard, Benson, Montgomery, Brian Thomas Jr., London, Debo Samuel, right? Obviously, Lamb is going to be out and miss some time, so you're plugging in someone there. But you're choosing between 4, 5, 6 guys each week, and that's an issue that's not talked a lot about in fantasy in general. Where like, yeah, we always talk about depth and how depth is great and stuff like that, especially during bye weeks and injuries happen and all of that. But it also puts you in this predicament where it's just like every single week you're choosing between 4 or 5 guys that are all very similar in what they could do, and you seem to choose the wrong one every single time. So what I think I would try and do is package a couple players together to go out and try and get a stud if I can. You know, will someone you started off 0-3, so you should be Johnny. You should be looking towards the 3-0 teams, the 2-1 teams, and trying to send them Lamb. I know it sucks to trade away CD Lamb, but you're 0-3. You can't afford to lose the next 2-3 weeks without Lamb, and he could miss the next month, and he could be slow when he comes back. Go to those teams that are 3-0, 2-1. You know, maybe wait another week and see where you're at. You know, and try and trade Lamb to them. See if you can get a legitimate starting piece back. You know, package Lamb and someone else. Package Deebo Samuel and package Deebo Samuel and a Trey Benson or a David Montgomery or something, right? Package those 2 players to get a stud so that it takes away you choosing the wrong guy each week and you're getting a stud in return. Because I assume you're playing in a two running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex, right? So, you know, who are you starting? Hall and Benson or Hall and Montgomery or something? You're starting Teteroa McMillan and Drake London or something, like there's always these guys on the bench and stuff like that. So I would try and package some players. You have good players there, but I've had this situation before myself in my league. So it's just like, why is this team losing? It's so good. And then I realize it's because I'm making the wrong decision each and every week. And it's frustrating as hell. So hopefully that helps a little bit there, Johnny. By the way, we do team reviews. It is a paid thing. Like we do charge. It's affordable. I see some people out there charging $50, $60, $70 for a team review, which I think is kind of crazy. We do it as an affordable thing if you do want your team reviewed, whether it's redraft or dynasty. By the way to get that, is to join our Discord and message me privately if you're interested. There's a whole section in there for team review. So message me privately and we can set that up and we can kind of review your team and give you some like an action plan of like, okay, because like that team theoretically shouldn't be 0-3. I don't know who your quarterback is, but assuming you went 0 quarterback, like there's a lot of quarterbacks that are doing well later on. So speaking of quarterback, I do want to talk about that later. So I'll come back to that. Idea about high-end quarterbacks here in a bit. JB 6997. Start Benson, DK, or Warren at flex. Is this PPR, I assume? I think I'm going to go Jaylen Warren. I know Benson's not a bad shout either, right? Cardinals are playing Seattle. My concern is that Seattle's actually been pretty good against running backs. They're kind of middle of the road, but they've held them to like not a lot of like efficiency is what I'm trying to get at here. Let me see here. Let me just double check and make sure I'm not putting my foot in my mouth. Oh, that's tomorrow too. And it's in Arizona, right? But like, so Seattle, they have played, they played the Vikings. They played the Vikings and Aaron Jones had a 3.7 yards per attempt average. Right? Or is that? No, that's last year. The hell am I doing? I'm all out of sorts here, guys. Okay, they played the 49ers. They held McCaffrey to 22 carries for 69 yards. which to hold McCaffrey to that is pretty good. And then they came back and played the Steelers. I think the Steelers running backs have not done anything, efficiency wise. I think, and I think through volume they were fine, and then they held Alvin Kamara to 2.3 yards per attempt. So I have this feeling that the Seahawks defense might be pretty good. I think I'm going to go Warren over Benson. One thing I'll say is how it all worked. So you had James Conner playing kind of the early down work, and Benson was the third down back. When James Conner got hurt, Benson took over Connor's role. Amari Mercado took over Benson's role, right? So Benson wasn't just like the 75% snap share, 80% snap share running back getting everything. DeMercado was still coming in. So I think you're going to be limited a bit on Benson's catches. He'll probably give you similar to what Connor was giving you with the cat in terms of numbers of catches, 2 to 3, and maybe he does more with it or not. I think I would go Jaylen Warren though, just because man, he's getting an insane amount of work. Man, he's going against Pittsburgh though too. That's really tough. It's kind of a coin flip between Warren and Benson there. So I don't know who you're leaning there, JB, but I'd lean Warren, but that's close. It really is. Yeah, as a Steelers fan, it's sad. Yeah, I know Steelers fans pride themselves on their defense and stuff like that. So Detroit defense or Seattle's defense. I'm going to go with Seattle's defense. Who are the Lions playing? Cleveland. Ooh, actually. Here's what I'll say. I don't want to roster 2 defenses. So my decision is going to come down to who can I get multiple weeks out of. So let's look at the Lions schedule here. Lions get Browns, Bengals, Chiefs. So you can probably start them for the next 2 weeks. Seahawks schedule, obviously Cardinals, Buccaneers. I think I'm going Lions because you can start them for the next 2, maybe 3 weeks if the Chiefs are still kind of this mediocre offense, which they've been for over 2 years now. So yeah, I'll go Lions there. I'll go Lions. But I never hate targeting Seahawks defense. I think is good. It's a short week. You're playing a divisional opponent. I think that could be a very low scoring game. But I'll probably go Detroit. What's up, Frizzle? Welcome in. Mahomes, or dare I say Danny Dimes? I don't think it's crazy to say Danny Dimes. I don't think it's crazy to think about it, I guess is what I should say. I think I'm still going Mahomes. I mean, Baltimore, their defense has not looked great. They've given up the 5th most points to quarterbacks to this point. They've played some tough quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Flacco. But yeah, I think I'd still go Mahomes, but I'm not going to fault you if you say Danny Dimes. I do think that matchup, the Rams matchup, is a little bit tougher there for Daniel Jones. But I mean, we thought the Broncos was going to be the toughest, and Daniel Jones kind of lit up the Broncos too. So what's Daniel Jones doing rushing? Because I know Mahomes is leading quarterbacks in rushing. I'm pretty sure. That could be wrong, but I know he's up there. I mean, Daniel Jones is giving you basically, he's giving you a pretty good floor of rushing. So man, that's tough. I'd probably still go Mahomes, but I don't hate the Daniel Jones. By the way, it's not Danny Dimes anymore, right? It's like Indiana Jones. Isn't that what it is? Isaiah Bond had an explosion of snaps. Yep, he did. He's kind of pushed Cedric Tillman out a little bit of the picture. So yeah, be good to see what Isaiah Bond does with potentially Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. Who to start at flex, full PPR, Jaylen Warren, Trey Benson, BTJ. Oh, how sad. How sad it is that after 3 weeks we're benching BTJ at this point. But I don't blame you for doing that. Me personally, I feel like, wait a second. So I'm kind of between, man, they're all so close. They're all so close. I feel like me personally, I'm going to be stubborn and still start BTJ. As stupid as that is, right? It feels so dumb, but like, I it has to come soon, right? Like it has to come. It's the Tyreek Hill issue, though. So if you want to avoid BTJ, which I'm totally not going to argue for against you, I think I lean Jaylen Warren, but man, those three are all kind of a coin flip for me to a certain extent. I kind of don't like both Warren and Benson's matchups. Benson playing Seattle on Thursday night on a short week. Warren playing Minnesota. And so that makes me lean even a little bit more towards BTJ, who is playing the 49ers. I don't think is a terrible matchup. So yeah, I think I would still lean BTJ. But if you didn't want to do that, Grant, then I would go Warren. So once again, guys, make sure to hit the like button on this video. That's all we really ask of you. We're going to stay live here for another. As long as questions are going to keep coming, we'll stay live for another 30 minutes. If questions die out, then we'll probably take off a little bit earlier. Hit the like button for us. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. We go live about 5 times a week. Monday nights after the game, Thursday nights after the game, Wednesday at this time, and then Saturdays and Sunday mornings. Saturdays about 11 a.m. Eastern, and Sunday 1 hour before the games start. So join us all season long. Dynasty, redraft, whatever you want to talk, we can talk. And hit that like button for us. Appreciate you all. I think you hit it perfectly. The past 2 seasons have been burned by injuries, either with wide receiver or running back. So I decided to try and maximize my value with quality players, but they aren't producing. I think you did the right thing there. My quarterbacks weeks 1 through 2 was Trevor Lawrence, picked up Caleb Williams last week and keeping him as my starter, but Jordan Love is out there on waiver wire too, playing a crap. Yeah, I would still roll with Caleb just because of his rushing. Yeah. I would still roll with Caleb there. But it's so frustrating, Johnny. I know your position. It's one of the reasons why I like to play in deeper leagues. I never liked the start 7, start 8 formats of most leagues. If you play on ESPN still, if you play on Yahoo, if you play on CBS, NFL.com, those standard leagues are like 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, a tight end, and a flex, right? Or it's 3 wide receivers, or it's 2 flexes. So it's like start 7 or 8, not including kickers and defense. I don't like to play in those, one, because that makes like 70% of the fantasy players irrelevant. Anyone who's not like a top 20 guy at their position is kind of irrelevant. And even the guys that are like, if you have a team full of wide receiver and running backs at 20, you're still not going to win because all you need is 2 or 3 big time players, 2 or 3 guys in the top 5 at their position, and that's how you win. Whereas deeper leagues, it makes it more fun because you're starting guys that are kind of forgotten about for the most part in fantasy. But another reason is, for this reason, it's just like I can draft so well. I can draft all the right players, but I just make the wrong start-sit decisions each week because my lineups are not very deep. So you can argue that that's part of the skill of fantasy football, and I'm not going to argue against that. But and Rocky's giving you some words of encouragement there, Johnny. Like, shout out to all you fellow 0-3s. We'll get through this. I can't remember who it was. I want to say, I don't know if it was Kevin. Kevin, if you're still here, you can let me know. There was someone last year that was watching, joining us in live streams, each and every live stream, and they started off either 0-4 or 0-5, and then they won the whole thing. They won the whole thing. So I've had that happen before as well. I don't know if I've started off like 0-4 and won the whole thing, but 0-4 and made the playoffs and stuff. It doesn't take much to get hot and get you in there. So flex PPR, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, or Godwin. I'm probably going to avoid Godwin week 1. I know they're kind of saying like he's good to go, but I'd like to see it. I don't want to start him and then he's kind of limited a little bit. So between DJ Moore and Devonta Smith, I think I'm going to go with Smith. And what I'm basing that off of is the matchup. Let me see here. Man. Actually, I think I'd go DJ Moore. Still. I know DJ Moore's been kind of a little bit frustrating. It's like a little bit like he's kind of been replaced a bit. He had 3 carries last week though, guys. And he'll usually you'll get, you'll average closer to 8 to 10 yards per rush attempt as a receiver. I think I lean DJ Moore, but it's kind of a coin flip there. TS. Danny says our first round picks generally. Sam, did I miss yours? I think I did. Do I trade Nico Collins for Amarion Hampton and Chris Olave? I also have JSN and Malik Neighbors, and my running backs are James Cook and Henderson. So I think so, but let me know. Obviously, this is redraft, right, Sam? Not dynasty. So, I would do that. I would take the Hampton and Olave side. So then you'd be starting what? JSN, Neighbors, Olave. Could you start all those guys, Sam? I guess is one question. Or is because if you play in 2 wide receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex, then that means Olave or Travion are on the bench, which right now Travion Henderson should be on the bench, right? So I would make that trade though, Sam. I would. Yeah. We got to there. Our first round picks generally worth more during the season, right before the playoffs or in the off season. First round picks, Danny, they are an incredibly safe investment because as time progresses and the value of first round picks will continue to go up all the way up until you draft, right? First round picks will be more valuable in 2 weeks than they are right now. They'll be more valuable at the end of the season than they are now. They'll be more valuable in April than they are right now, than they are in December. They'll be more valuable the most valuable a first round pick will be is the day of, the day before, or even during the draft if it's like a slow draft. That's when that first round pick literally hits peak value. So that's why they're safe investments. I talk about dynasty a lot in terms of like investing in the stock market and stuff. And it's literally like an investment that will only go up. And that's why if you have a lot of first round picks, your team's probably eventually going to be okay because you have no risk tagged to them. There's no risks. So, that's the answer to that, Danny. We just need another Quentin Johnston victory formation /lap. Yeah, I hope he keeps it up, man. I'm excited. Like, again, Chargers fan here who wanted Zay Flowers, did not want Quentin Johnston. and was, proven right the first 2 years. But man, Quentin Johnston, man, here he comes. Breakout season. All he needed was Keenan Allen there. Go figure. Kelce or Hunter Henry? I have Mahomes at the quarterback. Yeah, Jeff, I know we talked about this before. I lean Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry was good with Drake May last year. He averaged like 10 or 11 PPR points per game last year with Drake May. And by the way, that was with 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns. And we know that's probably not going to happen, as we've seen. Hunter Henry just caught 2 this last week. So I personally would go Hunter Henry. Now, again, I don't necessarily want to drop Kelce if I can avoid that. But if I had to choose, I think I would go with Hunter Henry. Otto says I have Bijan, Henry, Pickens, Debo, and Devonta starting. Still waiting on Rashi and Henderson on my bench, but wondering what I should do for receivers 1 to 2. 1 and 2, so need win soon. You have Bijan, Henry, Pickens, Debo. I mean, you're getting a bump in Pickens, right? He's going to get a bump. Debo, I think, will be fine. I know he had a down game. I know he had a down game this last week, but I didn't mind. I liked him getting 3 carries. I hope they get him more involved in the running game, which this week, by the way, was the first week we saw with no Austin Eckler, and he got 3 carries. So if he gives you 3 carries a game and hopefully closer to 6-7 targets a game, Debo's going to be really good. That game just wasn't great for anyone really, but like Marcus Mariota and stuff. I think you're okay. I think what I would try and do, Otto, potentially, if you can, either this week or next week, is looking to potentially trade Rashee Rice. If you go 1 and 3, it's going to be hard to justify holding on, potentially risk losing the next 2 weeks, because Rashee Rice doesn't matter much to you if you're 1 and 5, right? I mean, sure, you can come back from that, but probably doesn't matter much to you. So maybe you float that around. But I think overall, Debo's going to be fine. You're getting a bump with Pickens. Devonta Smith, you just need the Eagles to throw kind of be pressed to throw the ball a little bit more. And so, we look at their schedule, and the Eagles defense is good, but we just saw the Rams put up a bunch of points on them. I think the Buccaneers can do that. Just looking at their schedule coming up, I think the Buccaneers can put up points on them. I think the Broncos could put up points on them. I don't think it's likely, but they could. Vikings, we'll see. Packers after that, Lions. So you got 3 or 4 teams over the next 4 or 5 weeks that can put up points on the Eagles, including, in my opinion, the next 2 weeks. So that will be good for Devonta Smith. So, I mean, if you're looking to make a trade, then, you can definitely do that, Otto. So you can kind of let me know what you think there. Double flex. Okay, so you'll be able to start those guys. So, yeah, I'm for that, Sam. I'm for that. Not really relevant to the stream, but I just found out that the CFL is making a ton of rule changes. Everyone's pissed. They're moving the field goal post back to the back of the end zone. Is that the only rule change there, Down with Fun? So I work on CFL. I work with PFF. I don't know if I know I've mentioned it on the stream, but I don't know how many people know that. But I work CFL games, and I'm used to the rules now. But it was a little weird in the beginning. Like, they only have 3 downs, right? So like they, instead of 3 and outs, they have 2 and outs, right? They punt on 3rd down. Obviously, all the motion that they can make, right? They can make all kinds of motion and before the line of scrimmage and get a head start on running and stuff like that. The field goal post, it's probably safer. They're shortening the field. Interesting. They're shortening the field, so they're going to make it 100 yards, and because they're putting the field goal, because their end zones are 20 yards deep. So are they shortening the end zones as well? Making it 100 yards and 10-yard end zones, or are they keeping the 20-yard end zones but making it 100 yards on the field? Missed field goals aren't worth 1 point. I always thought that was hilarious. Like, you're celebrating the missed field goal win. Like that happened, I think, last week in the CFL. I know it happened last year to I think clinch a playoff spot or something. It's like, oh yeah, we missed the extra point on the field goal, but we won because of it, you know? So interesting. The Rouge. I kind of like CFL. I like that it's different, personally. So our numbers just went down talking about the CFL. No, I'm fine with talking about the CFL. Trade Rome for Puka. I mean, if you could get Puka for Rome Odunze, 1,000% you're doing that. 1,000%. So I want the Puka side. I don't think you can do that though. Now, if I had to add someone to it, I would happily do it. If I had to add this running back to it, I would happily. Obviously, not if it's like a top 7-10 guy, maybe, but I would happily. I would happily add like a top 24 running back to Rome Odunze to get Puka as well. So, end zones are changing from 20 yards deep to 15, but pushing the post back fucks over the kickers hard. Yeah, I mean, that's 15 extra yards, right? Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. People are always going to be, stubborn to rule changes and stuff like that. I feel like NFL fans are pretty open to it for the most part. Like, I don't hear a lot of pushback, but changing the actual field, I think, is a little bit, that's different, right? Like that's kind of like, I don't know. That's pretty major to like change the actual field. That's different than like changing just like a rule, like, we're changing this new kickoff rule and stuff. You know what I do like about the CFL, and I thought the NFL should if they wanted more like punt returns, is the no yards rule that they have, where you have to be, I think it's 5 yards away from the punt returner when he's fielding the ball, right? So you can't just be in his face as he's fielding the ball. So fair catches aren't a thing in the CFL. Essentially, there are no. I don't think there are fair catches because you get a penalty if you're too close to the punt returner. I thought that's kind of cool. Like it encourages punt returns, right? Which I think punt returns make the game more exciting. But interesting. Last thing I wanted to touch on, if you guys have any other questions, obviously leave them in the chat. We'll be back again tomorrow after the game. I wanted to talk about, I think I'm going to stop telling, my fantasy advice has always been wait on quarterbacks. And I think I'm at the point where I'm going to stop telling people like, don't draft these elite quarterbacks anymore. Just looking at all the busts there have been over the last couple of years of players drafted in the first couple of rounds. These elite quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, even Jalen Hurts, and stuff like that. These guys are so damn consistent that I think they're justified. You're justified in taking these guys early. I think you really are, even in a one quarterback league. Will I do it? That's a different story, right? I don't know yet, but you just look at the standings for look at the top 10 running backs, right? Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Bijan Robinson, CMC, Montgomery, Javonte, Etienne. So Montgomery, Javonte, Etienne, Dobbins, 4 of the top 10 are guys that were just like completely off boards, right? I don't know. I just think it's pretty consistent. Like Lamar, QB1, he was drafted as like QB1 or 2. Josh Allen, QB2, drafted as QB1 or 2. Jalen Hurts, QB5, drafted as a top 5 guy, right? I just think, taking that strategy isn't terrible. Lamar's insane, man. Like he had a down game and he put up 27 points. So, yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. Like, why do I think we overthink it sometimes. Now, you can make the argument and say, well, look at all the talent that's out there. Like Caleb Williams is top 5. Daniel Jones is top 5. Justin Herbert, Drake May, all these guys were later round picks. But like, it's never gonna be a Joe Burrow. It's never gonna be a Baker Mayfield that I'm gonna be drafting. Like, I'm not gonna be drafting these pocket passer guys high, but those elite rushers like Allen, Lamar, and Hurts, like, they're the safest bets in fantasy. And so I think it's not crazy to say, hey, let's draft these guys so early. And yeah, I was one of those people to draft Tyreek Hill over Josh Allen or Lamar or whatever. Yeah, it's insane, man. Like, the guy is insane, Lamar. It's crazy how good he is. Because his 2019 season, he threw a lot of touchdowns. He's gotten to the point where, like, you don't even like, Lamar can still be really good as just a passer. Like, as just a passer last week. Let's see here. Lamar put up 4, 8, 11, 15, 19, 23, 24 points in 4-point per passing touchdown. 24 points in 4-point per passing touchdown. Right? In 6-point, he put up 18, 26. He put up, like you said, 30 points, right? Almost over 30 points. Like, as a passer in week 2 against Cleveland, Lamar had 4 touchdowns. So he gave you 16 points there and another 9 points. He gave you 25 points in 4 points as just a passer. Like, Lamar's just like, he's an absolute alien. Like, he's just, as a passer, he's a top 5 quarterback. And then you throw in that the guy's going to rush for 30, 40 yards a game at least. It's crazy. It's insane. We'll get out on this, guys. Jelly of the month. My tight end is Fannin in PPR. Drop Algier to grab Hunter Henry and stream best weekly tight end matchup between them, or just hold. Man, you know what I always think about with these backup running backs is, like, look how valuable, like, if you guys play in a fab system and Trey Benson or Cam Scatterbo were on the waiver wire this week, like, people were spending their entire fab budget. And so it's like, man, you need to get ahead of these and hold these backup running backs. Algier is one of those guys. I like Hunter Henry over Fannin, but I don't mind it. Jelly of the month. I would rather keep one tight end and have Algier than be rostering 2 tight ends and not have Algier. So I personally would go Hunter Henry and drop Fannin, but I know that's not a popular take. So if you like Fannin, then maybe just roll with Fannin one more week and see how things shake out. But I think I personally might drop Fannin, get Hunter Henry, and keep Algier. Just again, because if Bijan gets hurt, holy crap! Like, you're going to spend your entire fab budget on Tyler Algier, So, but anyways, guys, we'll get out on that. Join us tomorrow after the game. After the game ends, we'll go live. Appreciate everyone. Trey Benson versus the Seahawks or Trey Benson. Accord driver. Accord Riven. Accord driving. It's Benson. Chase Brown is like, I mean, your panic button, DEFCON 10, or I don't know what's the highest. You're pretty high. You're benching Chase Brown as of now. Jordan Love versus a bad Dallas defense, or banged up Jaden Daniels versus. I'd go Jaden Daniels and just hope he's okay. So don't fault you if you start Jordan Love, but I would reevaluate after Thursday night there. Jelly of the month. If I'm down bad, I'd probably go Jordan Love. I might go Jordan Love, actually, if you want to just like take it easy on Daniels after week 1 because it's a knee injury and stuff. So I don't mind Jordan Love. But anyways, I appreciate everyone. Join us tomorrow after the stream, and good luck tomorrow.